YouTube followers, listen up very, very closely because you're probably scared looking at me going, what in the world happened to this guy's face? Guys, it's all good. Had a shrimp allergy. I took some sushi or ate some sushi. They told me shrimp was not in it. It was supposed to be crab. No, I'm not allergic to shellfish. It's just shrimp for whatever reason. Anybody has answers to that out there, please let me know because I've been searching for them my entire life. Well, some shrimp got in there. It was fresh, wasn't cooked. I don't know if I have a problem with cooked. I've never eaten cooked, but fresh, I sure do. I have different things that happen, and it's been a long time. Well, this time, my face swelled up like a Goodyear blimp. It is bright red, like I got burnt from the sun. I am swelled up all over the place, and I wanted to make sure all of you out there, especially those that are seeing me for the very first time, understand this is not how I look all the time. So just wanted to clear that up for everybody who are watching. Audio experience listeners out there, if you're intrigued, go check it out. If not, just listen and you'll be good. But hey, everybody, welcome inside the studio. And today, listen very closely. Cash now is always more important than cash tomorrow. It's always more powerful. It's always worth more than cash tomorrow. You may be somebody out there that's in dire straits. Your business may be new. You're looking for it. You may be 30 years old in your business and you're struggling and you're saying, okay, how can I use some really cool, innovative ways to build my cash flow now? We're going to be talking about that today. But this is also for mature businesses doing well. Oftentimes when we need cash flow, we're doing everything in our power to get it. But oftentimes when we have it, we relax a little bit, right? It makes us feel good. Maybe your anxiety goes down. I'm going to talk about that today here a little bit on what it does for me when we have cash flow versus maybe we're struggling with it for whatever reason. So regardless of where you are in your business journey, if you need it desperately or you're ahead and you already have it, don't get relaxed, right? Don't be reactive whenever you're looking for cash flow. Be proactive. And that's what we're going to be talking about today is 3 proactive strategies. And you're going to like these that is going to increase your cash flow, both in your business, but also we're going to reference back on how you can do the same type strategy, the same thinking, the same proactive mindset that business owners, entrepreneurs have out there, how you can do this in your personal life if maybe you're an employee listening out there or whatever it may be. Really good one for you today that I think is going to help a lot. Also, and I said this on the last podcast, we now have an official launch date of the rebrand of the New Patient Group podcast. We are going to be rebranding it into the Brian Wright Show. The first episode that's going to be coming out in May, first business day of May is when we always release that first episode, just to let everybody know in case you don't out there. It's going to be rebranding to the Brian Wright Show. Now, you don't have to do anything. The last podcast episode, make sure you go out and check that. Go check that out because I go in depth more about that than I am going to do today. But rebranding it for a lot of reasons, okay? One, the rebrand is going to happen within our current hosting company. So just the name of the podcast is going to change. If you're already downloading, you're already a subscriber, there isn't anything you need to do other than look for the new name that comes up in your podcast feed, okay? Don't worry about going to a different channel and a new subscription, downloads, nothing. It's just going to come up as it normally is. It's just going to be under a same name. If this is new to you and you're maybe checking in for the first time, I referenced this more in the last episode, like I just said, but the reason we're rebranding is, look, our message help businesses and entrepreneurs and really anybody that wants to transform life, career, and or business. Our message is for all those out there. If you're somebody that wants to get more out of your life, career, and or business, our message resonates. Our expertise is used by companies all over the world. Our niche, however, starting many years ago, we found a niche in orthodontics, dentistry, other healthcare professions, because the stuff we teach, leadership, sales, hospitality, verbiage, consumer psychology, experience, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera, it applies to any type of business, but that niche is because if somebody types in braces or Invisalign on Google as an example, boom, you have 10 options, which automatically puts you into the people first business, no different than a hotel, a restaurant, and every other entrepreneur's business on the planet. So therefore, we're going to be updating it. A lot of cool new episodes coming out. It's going to just get better for all of you, but it's also going to challenge you like we've always done on here that's going to challenge you, so you do get the most out of your life, career, or business. So before we start today with this good 3 proactive strategies to increase cash flow in your life and your business, let's go ahead and fire up the new upcoming music. Once we make the official change, you're going to get a new intro to this. Let's go ahead and fire it up now, and we'll see you on the other side.
Welcome to the Brian Wright Show audio experience, a podcast dedicated to transforming lives, careers, and businesses. And now your host. He's a husband, father of 2, an international business and life coach, the founder and CEO of New Patient Group and Wright Chat, and a consultant and global speaker for some of the finest companies in the world, such as Invisalign and many others. Now, here's your host, Brian Wright.
Hey everybody, welcome inside the broadcast booth. Coming off a fantastic mastermind, unbelievable attendance. Very proud of all of you for being so proactive with what we were talking about. The podcast that I did on how to double your new patients, double your new customers overnight by mastering this one skill was our topic. And have a lot of you out there, you've jumped this. You've already seen it work. You've already got some starts from it, some sales from it. Very proud of you. Almost anything in life, all of you have to remember, and there's exceptions to everything, but almost anything in life, your career and or your business out there, the best way to go about anything is implementing it faster than everybody else. Not perfecting it, not even being good at it, just doing it. Be a doer. If you have an idea, go do it. If you're scared of something, overcome it by going and doing it. Much easier said than done. But some of you on the mastermind and right after, right? You jumped to it and boom, you added sales, you added revenue to the business, and eventually those people are going to become a referral stream that otherwise never would. So very, very proud of you. Have our upcoming in-person session in Scottsdale. Looking forward to seeing all the customers out there and spouses, and we're going to go for a 3-day blast like we always do. We're going to have new faces as we always do, as well as some familiar ones. So can't wait to see everybody at our upcoming in-person event in Scottsdale, Arizona. And awesome that we have our upcoming March Iconic, March 27th through the 29th. We're going to be having people fly in all over the country to our training facility here. And it's our very first Iconic ever dedicated at the clinical assistants out there. It can be so easily lost by all of you understanding that 90% of what an assistant does for you is non-clinical. Their communications, their sales abilities, handling tough conversations when a kid isn't compliant, but the parent thinks the kid can do no wrong, how they greet start appointments, how they interact with each other. There's so many things that they do, and there's really no event. There's no event like Iconic in existence, period. Certainly not an event like this targeted at assistants. And then October, everybody, and when the landing page is ready, we're going to be putting it down in the description below. We're going to have our full team event, October Iconic, here at our training facility in Colorado Springs. It is going to be unbelievable, and we're looking forward to packing the house. We already have verbal commitments, and registration will be opening once this Iconic gets finished and we move into April. Registration officially will open on our website shortly thereafter. So look for the first week, second week, that kind of thing in April. A lot of amazing, amazing things going on, and so blessed all of you out there who are customers, and being a part of our family means the world, as you know it does. Today, diving into a topic like we talked about in the intro, 3 proactive strategies to increase cash flow in your life and your business. And I was walking the other day, my family, we were in downtown Manitou, and Manitou is it's right outside of Colorado Springs. It's basically Colorado Springs, and it's beautiful. It sits at the base of the mountains, really neat, eclectic downtown. And we're walking around downtown with Kristen and the kids, and we come across this olive tap, which we get our olive oil there, and I trust it. If you've never seen the Netflix documentary on what the mob has done to the olive oils all over the world, and especially here in the United States, it's a really cool documentary. It's also scary. Like, the majority of the olive oils here on the shelves in America are tainted with canola oils, fake stuff, lubricants, a bunch of different stuff. It's a very interesting documentary. So, we're very health conscious. So, we want to make sure we're getting a lot of olive oil. It's very good for you. And anyway, so the Olive Tap is a place that we trust. So we're going in there to get some more olive oil, running low, and there's this table set up outside. And this husband and wife who now listen to the podcast. So I'm going to give you a free shout out here and some free publicity because I believe in family-owned businesses and I want you to succeed. And I appreciate you now subscribing and listening to the podcast. And this is why I know us rebranding the podcast to the Brian Wright Show is so powerful, and it's the right thing to do, because as we were going to the Olive Tap, they had a booth set up out there, and they're giving away some free breads and things like that, and they're beautiful. Only a few ingredients, which is all you need. You look at the bread in the store, it has like 90 in it. It should be illegal. A lot of the ingredients are illegal in countries all over the world except for here. So we're looking at that. We buy some bread, we get into some business discussions, and I think what we talked about is going to help them. And certainly this podcast is going to help them. And, helping businesses all over the world for so many years, I'm really pumped to still have our niche. Our niche will always be what it is, but just open ourselves up to more listeners, a broader audience, and bringing in more guests. Matter of fact, the founder of Cisco reached out to me via email, and I think I'm going to have him on. And that's what I'm talking, just really pushing all of you out of your boundaries by having some more podcasts with guests that come from outside your world, your industry. And just, again, heading back to transforming businesses, transforming lives and careers. And obviously, we're very passionate about it. And if you go to Instagram and go to lakes_bakes, follow them. All right, let's build that family-owned business with organic breads. Let's build their Instagram, and I want to give them a free shout out. Again, lakes_bakes. Follow them, order some stuff from them, and I hope you guys do really well. It was a pleasure talking to you, and I hope you take my advice. Hopefully it helps, and as you continue listening to this podcast, as it's helped thousands upon thousands all over the world, it's going to help you too. Let's dive in today, guys. The very first one, if you're a brand new business, and this is this is the part of going out and seeking cash flow that can be hard, is that oftentimes when you need it, you can't get it, right? If you show a bank, hey, we're declining, our revenue is going down, or I don't have any revenue, or I do have revenue, we only been in business a year and a half. Banks are in business to make money, obviously. So they are going to measure their risk and calculate whether or not it's worth it and things like that. So when you need it the most, oftentimes you can't get it, which that in itself is why you always want to be proactive. It's a very bad way of looking at it, going, hey, I don't need a loan right now, as an example, so therefore I'm not going to go get it. Bad way of thinking about it. It needs to be reversed. Right? So this number one, may or may not help you, but the very first one is when you go out and seek business loans. Many of you out there, like I just said, you go out and seek business loans when it's needed. And that's the mindset that I want you to change today. Is if you're a business that is doing well, you're happy with your cash flow, your sales are good, they're on the up, the revenue is on the ongoing up and up and up, and your business is healthy, that is when you go out and you get a business loan. That is the opposite of how so many of you out there think, just in general. I mean, we are reactive animals as is. We get overweight, we try to lose weight. We lose money, we try to make money. Our marriage goes to hell. So therefore we seek counseling to try to improve it, right? How many people have a marriage counselor when their marriage is going really well? Not many. How many people work out and push themselves to stay in shape and are always looking for the next workout to do to constantly be shaking up their body before they need to? Not many. So this is one of the reasons why many of you out there are reactive business owners, and why you need to change that way of thinking as it relates today, obviously in many different ways, but as it relates to today's episode, is you need to change that way of thinking with your business loans. Because if you're somebody that has healthy cash flow and your business is doing really well, I am teaching you to go out and get one for a couple reasons. The second one is non-statistical. It's going to be more of a health reason that I'm going to describe to you all, the way I look at it and how it helps me. The first one is obvious, right? You're going to get a better interest rate. You're going to get probably more money than you would ever dream of even needing. And therefore, the cash flow you have will be able to double, to be able to triple. And therefore, and this is the mistake, so many of you out there going, well, I don't need one as it stands today. Yeah, but tell me what tomorrow looks like. Tell me what 6 months from now looks like, a year, 2 years from now. What does that look like? And none of you know, no matter how good you're doing today, no matter how bad you might be doing today, things could flip. And the person that's struggling today could be outproducing somebody that's doing great right now, but then they start struggling in a year. This could flip. And what you don't want to do is go seek that loan when the shit hits the fan. And that is what so many of you out there, unfortunately, do with your businesses in general, right? You wait till your new customers, your new patients are dropping, and you go out there and you try to fix the problem. Your conversion, your sales conversion's going down, and you go out there and you try to fix the problem. No, when you try to fix those problems is when you're doing well, right? Hey, my conversion is up. What can we do to make sure it stays there and continually goes up? Well, you've got to innovate. You've got to install change in your culture. You've got to also be consistent and repetitive with what you've worked on in the past to where those skill sets don't go down, right? So you've got to be proactive, just like you have to be proactive with your business loans. And it's hard. Like you may be going, hey, I don't need it, so I'm really going to take a 3% or 7% hit on interest. My answer is absolutely, right? You could either do that and go invest it. And this is the same way in your personal life, right? This is going to be the smaller portion of the conversation today. But if you're taking home good money and you're happy with your income, that is when you go out and get a personal loan in your life, right? Because you don't really need the money, you can go out and invest in money, invest in that, or use that money to invest and get a larger return back than the interest rate you're paying back for loans. You know, a very common trait of billionaires and people of the ultra wealthy is they use debt to build wealth. Many of you out there may follow Dave Ramsey, and I, as an entrepreneur, disagree wholeheartedly with everything he teaches. I do not agree with any of it. And if you, again, look at the billionaires, the ultra wealthy, maybe they're not billionaires, but they're ultra wealthy, they are consistently using debt to build wealth. They'll take a $100,000 loan and they'll go invest the $100,000 and get a 20% return when they're only paying back 5% on the $100,000 to the loan. You see how that works, right? You just made 15% that you otherwise couldn't have made if you didn't have that $100,000 loan. They are constantly taking loans against their business, constantly taking loans against things in their personal life, and they're going and investing in that money. Right. So again, they're being extremely proactive about it. And as an entrepreneur, and this is why I encourage most of you out there, with exceptions, like is paying things in full a bad thing? No, it's not a bad thing. It's not that I say like Dave Ramsey is an idiot, doesn't know what he's talking about. No, his philosophy applies to a lot of people out there. If you're not an entrepreneur, it does make sense to pay things down or pay things off. If you're an entrepreneur, it doesn't, because a lot of those things are deductions that save you on tax dollars at the end of the year. But back to the first point, look for business loans in your personal or in your business life. And also, again, for personal loans in your personal life when things are going well. Now, that may not help you if you're a brand new business. So you may be seeking a loan, you can't get it yet, or a business that right now today is struggling. So some of these number 2 and 3 is going to help you there. But 1 may or may not help you. But for many of you out there who are doing well, seek, and again, you don't have to be crushing it, right? So even if you're doing okay, right, and you can show the bank some positivity that they can look at and go, look, we can take, this is worth the risk. Go out there and look for the loan and put that money in your pocket. Now, way 2 of way 1, a minute ago, I said there's kind of 2 reasons or 2 ways that I look at this first one that I'm talking about. The other one's kind of a non-statistical thing. So I feel I do a much better job for all of you out there when our cash flow is good. So I do this podcast today, one of my company's New Patient Group, another company, Wright. I have others. When the cash flow is great in those businesses, my anxiety drops. I sleep better. My mind functions better. I feel better. I feel more healthy. And I get behind the mic or on stage or on on-demand course or in some of your businesses, whatever it may be. And I believe I perform better because those things are not on my mind. And that's one of those things, again, that getting a loan for me, because I perform better, we end up making more sales because of it. We keep people longer because of it. The experience of our customers is better because of it, things like that. So that's one of those off-paper things that for me always makes it worth it. Because even if you're paying back, let's say 8% and $100,000, just using that as a simple example, but even if that's what you're doing and you don't necessarily need the cash, and let's say it just sits there and you never use it, a lot of people would be like, well, you just lost money. And in the scheme of things, you're right. But if it makes you feel the way I just described, the money you lost, you're going to more than make up by your business just simply performing well. If you're struggling with cash flow and you wonder if you're going to be around tomorrow, it is really, really difficult to then go do your job and be a great chef, be a great clinician, be a great, motivational person, business life coach like myself. It's very, very difficult to do that at the same level. So you see how that works, right? By doing it at a higher level, you can make that 8% that you lost back because you're going to be better. You're going to make more sales, add more revenue, things like that to the company. So those are a couple reasons. Be proactive. And a lot of times, again, if it's going to help you produce better, like I just described, it may be worth it in itself. But main thing, if you're going to take the loan, you want to have a reason to go use it. Hire somebody, invest in something. You want to have something where you can go and use the money that produces a larger return back than the interest rate that you're going to pay the bank. Anytime that that's the case, the loan makes sense. You all have to make your own decisions. Is sometimes, and this is the way it was in the beginning with New Patient Group, like I'd beg people to pay in full back then, like it'd be a $50,000 a year service and be like, please, can you pay? I'll give you anything. Take $25,000 off, take 30 off, just pay in full. Because that gives you the peace of mind of, look, okay, we can live for a couple months. We can have a business for a while. And obviously you're not going to do that the more mature that you get. And I'm going to talk about that concept a little bit more here when we get to number 3 today. So be proactive with your loans, everybody. Very, very important. And if you don't have anything, like you don't need it, there's nothing you plan on investing, you have to make the decision, does it make sense for you? But I will again tell you, just because you don't need the money today or don't have anything to invest or don't know what to invest in, whatever it may be, it doesn't mean in 6 months you're not going to be in desperate need of that money for whatever reason. Just keep that in mind. Be proactive, because the moment you need it, you're going to get a worse loan, not as much money, a worse interest rate. You see how all that works. Be proactive with your loans. Number 2, and this is something that we did with a lot of you out there during COVID, and our customers rocked it during COVID. I saw a lot of people struggling out there. Our practices and our businesses, they really, really did well. And New Patient Group did really, really well. I was doing a ton of speaking on webinars. Everyone was just stuck at home. And it's really when we started, even though we had been around a long time leading up to that, that's really when we started getting more and more known in our niche area. And we did really well too. But one of the things that I want to talk about now is something that I think is really innovative. And it's not something that your customers, your patients out there are going to come to you and go, hey, is this an option? I need it. This is kind of like one of those things where if you want more Google reviews, you have to ask for them. If you want more video testimonials, you have to ask for them. Like, it drives me nuts. You could go in and out of 1,000 restaurants and the waiters never ask. It's just asinine, right? It should be part of... And for the restaurants we work with, this is part of the program. It's training the waiters how to ask, when to ask, to make sure you're getting video testimonials from the tables, 5-star reviews from the tables, things like that. But nobody's walking into your business going, can I please give you a video testimonial, right? You have to ask with intent. And when you do that, you're going to build your video testimonials and have a better YouTube station and a better digital presence. But you have to ask. If you don't ask, you're going to lose thousands of opportunities over the course of your existence. Number 2 is kind of the same way that I'm getting into, is that one of the things that we worked with businesses then, and we continue to do this, and this is especially if you really need cash. You're like, hey, Brian, I need it. How the hell do I get it, like, now? And the bank loan may or may not be the way to go if you're really struggling and you need it. Like, I need the money tomorrow morning, or I have a real problem here. But this also, again, goes back to, if you're successful, your cash flow is great. This matters a lot too, because you don't know if your cash flow is going to be great in 6 months. You never know. So if you go and you look at, and I'm going to make up, let's say you have 300 patients, 300 customers, whatever business you have out there. And they're making payments to your business. You have an in-house payment plan, right? So they're not financed outside of your business. And let's say you have 300. If you go look at the balances of those 300, start with ones that are making payments, and let's say they've making payments for a year and a half. That's your baseline. And again, your baseline could be 2 years, it could be a year. I'm using a year and a half. Go and look at the balances remaining. Maybe that leaves 150 patients, customers, whatever, that are paying you, that are a year and a half in, and they've got whatever, a year left, 6 months left, whatever it is. Go in there and every single one of them, reach out to them and ask if they would like to refinance their remainder, and they can extend out as long as 60 months through a care credit, and for payments as low as. Now, how you do this, for those of you that are in the ortho world, dental world, our niche, is that if you go to Care Credit, on their homepage, there's going to be a loan calculator. Let's say that my family has $1,500 left to pay on our $7,000 original investment in Invisalign with your practice. There's $1,500 left. If you go type in $1,500 into that loan calculator, you're going to get a split screen come up after you hit enter. And on the left side, you are going to get options with 0% interest, which you never, under any circumstances, present first. Talk about that briefly in just a second. The second side, the right side, you're going to get your with interest plans. If you look at 60 months, you're going to get that payment, right? And that payment could be as low as $43 with no money down. See, a lot of your patients, a lot of your customers, any type of business out there, they need a lower payment. That's why this works so well in COVID, is many of you out there needed the cash flow desperately, but your patients that were paying you needed a lower monthly payment desperately because likely they weren't doing well either. All right. Now, the economy's not that good. As I do this podcast today, I have a lot of confidence it's going to get better based on recent switches, but it's not there yet. So if you could reduce a in-house payment plan, maybe they're paying you $185 a month down to $43 a month, you're doing a great service for your customers, for your patients, as well as that money going into your bank account in 1 to 2 business days. Boom, you see how that works. You're going to have $1,500 minus a 2% fee that goes right into your bank account. Now they start paying the bank. Okay, you see how that works. Now, if you got a 30% yes return, so out of 30% of the 150 customers, patients say, yeah, let me do this, you can start doing the math on how much cash flow you can start putting into your bank account and wipe those payments off of your books and lessen the burden on your practice, on your business to go out and chase it. All right. So if you go, and again, it doesn't have to be people that are a year and a half. You could do this with 100% of your patients. There's a misconception that a lot of you have out there that people won't buy with interest. They won't buy with interest oftentimes because of how you're presenting it. Remember, framing effect. Go back a couple seasons and listen to that podcast. I did it right before speaking at a dental monitoring event with Alyssa Carter. She and I did the framing effect together on stage. And I think the framing effect is one of the most powerful things we teach. How to get people to draw different conclusions based on what they perceive as the same information. That's all done through sales strategy, hospitality, the psychology of the consumer, meaning knowing what to say, how to say, when to say, why to say, verbiage, presentation skills, all the things that we teach all over the world. If you refine those skill sets, teach those skill sets, your team becomes great at it. You'll start getting yeses when yesterday you got nos. And this is the same thing for restaurants out there. What we train you on is when your waiters know how to speak, you are going to sell more specials. When your waiters know how to present and sell, you're going to sell the $180 bottle of wine instead of the glass of wine, right? These are experiences. These are sales through experiences. So how you present this to your patients will ultimately decide how many do say yes. But that is not the podcast for today. I'm going to give you one tip that you must say. You must use consensus. So when you reach out, you want to let your patients know how great of an offer it is and how many of your customers are taking advantage of it, right? This is a very popular offer. A lot of our customers are taking advantage. That's consensus powerful. You leave that out, you will not get as big a return. Hey everybody, Brian Wright here. Let's step away from the podcast. Hope you're enjoying it. And let's talk about presentation skills here for just a minute. I just briefly mentioned that presentation skills will really determine how successful you are going to be with number 2 today, with number 2's proactive strategy, reaching out to patients and refinancing how much they have left to pay you and refinancing that through your trusted partners. I am excited to announce that we just came out with a brand new on-demand course, and it's the 4 steps to presenting money and the 4 essential steps to presenting money to today's consumer. Look, focus, attention span, people don't listen. Everything is on the drop. It's on the decline, which means your presentation skills are more critical than ever before. plain and simple. Your sales abilities, consumer psychology, again, knowing what to say, when to say, how to say, why to say, all of those great things that we teach. Well, this 4 essential steps to presenting money to today's consumer is going to transform your conversion. It's going to transform your sales. It's going to get more money down, increase your cash flow, which is today's topic. And it's going to teach you a lot of advanced presentation skills on how to simplify a lot of things that a lot of you, unfortunately, out there make very complicated when you don't need to. On the preview video, I'm going to put the link to the landing page in the description below. When you watch the preview video, do the role play with whoever presents money in your business. Do the role play. When I say play me again, right, when you come back to that video, I am going to have up what they said. I already know how they're going to do it. And if they said anywhere near what I say in that preview video that you can see on the landing page, you need this course, right? This course is also going to teach you something about time. I'm about to give you something here that's going to help with number 3 that I'm going to talk about today, Whenever you're talking discounts, right? If you're going to offer a paid in full discount, do not give the percentage. Do not say 5%, 7%, 3%. Say the number that equates, right? It's a $300 savings, $500 savings. This on-demand course will teach you more. It will dive into the psychology of why, how to flip your verbiage whenever you're offering discounts. You're going to get a better result, okay? I'm also going to put a QR code that is going to be in the description below. Use that QR code when you're checking out. It'll give you $100 off of this course. It's a course you can keep for life. And for those of you that come aboard as private clients with us, and we're coming to your business and we're helping you on an ongoing basis, role-playing all the things we do, we will refund you that money. If you have bought a course in the past and then you join us for our private coaching sessions, we'll refund you that money as part of this offer as well. So take advantage. It is a fantastic course. I am the teacher in that course, so I will walk you through, guide you through a bunch of great stuff that is going to help your business tremendously across the board, cash flow, sales, etc. Take advantage of it. I'll put that the link in the description of the podcast below. Hope you're enjoying today. And now let's get back to today's episode. So we have step 1, get a business loan whenever you don't need it. Many of you out there can relate to this and go, damn, my business was doing really good, 4 years ago. And then we hit a stall point. And we thought the stall point was going to be temporary, and it wasn't. It lasted a year, and now it's continued into this year, right? Maybe it's 2 years, and now you're in a decline, right? That is not when you get the loan. You get the loan when you're on an upward trend, all right? Remember that. Very powerful. Personal life too, like I said. Second way, reach out to your customer base and ask if they want to refinance the rest of what's left over that they have to pay, right? And using the payment calculator before you call them, right? You can have this conversation as patients or customers walking in and out of your door. You should have this conversation with every one of them as well. If you're looking to increase cash flow, is stop them, have the conversation with them. And like I said, you don't need 100% success rate. You don't need an 80% success rate. Look for 20 to 30. Right? And the better you get at presenting, that number will go up. But if you just look at 20 to 30% saying yes, that could be tons upon tons of money that goes into your bank account in a couple days. And remember, the reason why is 2 reasons why you offer the 60-month first. 1, the 60-month is going to be the lowest possible payment to the patient, to the customer. Okay, that's going to be the lowest because it has the highest interest, which means the bank is making the money off of them. It's not making the money off of you. So your fee to your practice is going to be the lowest. The higher the interest and the higher the monthly they extend it. That's why you always offer that first. Now, you have to make the decision, depending on how in dire straits you are of needing cash flow, whether or not to go to 0%. Your employees will always default to 0% because it's an easy sell, but they're not getting hit with a fee. You as the business owner are. And those 0% fees are astronomical. They are a lot. But if you're in dire straits of cash and you want to pay an 18% fee in order to get $50,000 in your bank account tomorrow, I believe that's still worth it, right? And $50,000 right now is probably worth more than $75,000 in a few years. Like, inflation is that bad. The government is printing an insane amount of money every 30 to 90 days. It's really startling how bad the government is screwing with the US dollar. Many of you know I'm a big crypto investor, and that's why. I believe it's the future of money. There's all kinds of reasons. The banking system's outdated. You can't trade on the weekends. It takes a while to transfer money cross-border. It's an outdated technology, and there's so many unbelievable companies with transaction speeds, and it can transfer money in 2 or 3 seconds. It's a lot of cool, innovative things in that industry. But my biggest reason for investing in it is because of the devaluing of the US dollar. It's sickening to watch how the politicians, who most have never owned a business in their life, how unqualified they are, yet they're in charge of all these decisions. It's very, very scary. But remember, 1, personal loan and business loan proactively when you don't necessarily need it. 2, reach out to your patient, your customer base, and ask if they want to refinance the rest of their outstanding balance, and you can reduce their payments. Currently, Mr. Jones, you're paying about $187 a month. We can get that down to payments as low as $42 a month. There's no down payment or anything needed. Our patients are loving this. We have a ton that are taking advantage of this offer. Would you like to proceed? And we can get that taken care of for you, okay? So that's a mini version of how you would present that. There's other things, but not for today, okay? I think a lot of you out there, that second one is probably going to intrigue you, and something that I think can solve some cash flow issues for you almost overnight if you're having the conversation with people in person as well as people over the phone. Next one, third. This is one of these. A lot of you can relate to this. Whenever you have a newer business and you're like looking in your bank account and you're nickel and diming everything that's going out of your bank account, and you're wondering if you're going to be around tomorrow. And like I said new business, but you could be in business 30 years and be in this position, right? You could have had, 25 years in a row that were just glorious, and then the last few have sucked, and you're back in startup mode. And there's tons of business. We're going to talk about the 4 stages of business growth in the future. It's probably going to be next season, so that's not coming soon, I don't think. And many of you know, I didn't say this in the beginning, many of you know I try to tailor the episodes to what's going on in the economy. It's not always possible, but one of the reasons, if you notice season 8 of this podcast, outside of the kickoff episode in January where I had Dr. Bob Skopak on, all the rest of them, for the most part, have been around growth and sales and, like today, cash flow. Because many of you out there are still struggling, right? A lot of the industry's sales numbers are down. There's a lot of reasons for that beyond the economy, by the way, because there's a lot of people that had their best year ever last year, and they live in the same bad economy as you do, right? So in your world, it may or may not be you may think it's the bad economy, but in reality, it's how you're running things. That's a harsh reality that many of you, unfortunately, have to face. It's easier said than done. It's the same thing in, if you're struggling in your personal life and, whatever it is, you can't lose weight and you say I have a slow metabolism, that's why. You got other people that are losing weight and in great shape with slow metabolisms, right? This is kind of a look in the mirror type of life. Whether you own a business or you're an employee out there or all in our personal lives, most of the time, whatever issues we face, if we just look in the mirror and understand, look, if we just change things to do what other people are doing when they're succeeding in the same conditions, I can get out of this stuff. But, podcast for another time. But, this third one, this is one of these things that definitely, depending on your business journey and where you're at, will be dependent on how much you're willing to offer. But it's a paid in full discount. A lot of you out there don't offer. I think it's a huge mistake to not offer relatively small. They don't have to be massive, but just things that are actionable items that get people to say yes. People like discounts. I don't care what industry it is. There's a reason why when somebody says, hey, buy a pair of shoes at full price, get the second at 50% off, why they sell more shoes. Right? People like deals. So, giving them, let's say you have an Invisalign, you're trying to convince me to buy Invisalign, and your standard pricing is $7,000 as an example. I think, and we very much believe as a company, and what we teach all businesses out there is to drive behavior now, because what you have to understand is if they walk and they say, let me think about it, the time, energy, and effort that you put in to chase them down and get back is more than if you just would have said, look, if you buy now, we can give you $250 off, right? And or if you buy now and you pay in full, you get an additional $250 off, which ends up being a $500 total savings. Now, on the paid in full discount, depending on where you are, you probably are going to offer more than if you're doing really well with cash flow. You're not going to give away the farm. But I will tell you, the way many of you look at numbers out there, it drives me nuts, because you may say, okay, $7,000 Invisalign case, using that as an example. If you are in desperate need of cash flow, make them an offer. If you make them an offer of $250 to pay in full as a discount, probably not going to drive the needle as much as you say, look, if you start today and you pay in full, we can give you $1,000 off. Now, you may be going, Brian, that's crazy. Look how much money I lose. You don't lose anything. If you're looking for cash flow, any day of the week, $6,000 is more now than $7,000 in a year or 18 months. See, this is the piece that you have to wrap your head around, is that on paper today, you're losing money, right? But the offer may get them to start when they otherwise wouldn't. So you're not losing any money there. And because of inflation, the devaluing of the dollar, how expensive things are, because of those two things, et cetera, $6,000 now is way more than $7,000 in 18 months or however long the payment plan ends up being. You got to remember that. You are not losing money, especially this goes back to if you don't need cash flow. Still, you may not offer the $1,000 as I just said, but still, if you get the money today, you could pay yourself more. You could go invest it. Like right now, I think it's great investment opportunities with a lot of things out there, right? So maybe you just take that home and go invest it when otherwise you may or may not have that cash to do so. Right? So again, a lot of times the paper data lies, not all the time, but most of the time it's lying to you. I said like, if it was a $50,000 service, to be like, please, I'll give you whatever you want. Pay me $10,000 now. I'll do whatever it wants, right? And you almost get into this desperation mode. But for many of you out there, you can relate to this. You're like, look, I'll take $3,000 now over $6,000 in 2 years if it allows me to build some cash flow to give me the peace of mind to have a business. I keep peace of mind of knowing my business is going to be around. And like I said, going back to like business is obviously not all about data. If the cash flow's there and it makes you feel healthier and less anxious and you sleep better and you do a better job as a leader, you do a better job as a salesperson out there, like you're better with your customers, you're better with your prospective customers, you're better with your employees, right? That's what I'm saying is that then it's worth it. And I'm not telling all of you out there to give $3,000 off, but I'm simply telling that you should offer a paid in full discount. And depending on how much you need the cash flow, be aggressive with it, right? And if you're somebody that already has cash flow, it's a mistake to not still offer a discount. It doesn't need to be as aggressive as when you need it. But again, going back to how do you know that you're not going to need it in 6 months, a year, 3 years, right? How do you know that things aren't going to go from really great to not so great to really bad? Like you don't. And that is why you have got to be proactive with these 3 strategies. 1, seek loans personally and professionally when things are going well, if you have that opportunity. 2, call your customers and ask if they want to refinance the rest of the money they have through your trusted partners. Do not say third-party financing, say trusted partners. Right? That's something you can adapt when you're presenting money. Do not say third-party financing, say trusted partners. There's a lot of reason for it. Third-party financing is a trigger word. You do not want to use it. Podcasts on trigger words definitely for another time. Okay, so reach out and be proactively and try to get 20, 30% of the people paying you in-house to refinance their loan externally through a trusted partner. You will take that cash and put it in your bank account in 1 to 2 business days and lessen the stress of chasing money down because they're not paying you anymore. All right. 3rd, offer paid in full discounts and be aggressive with it, especially the more money that you need, the more cash flow it is. Do not nickel and dime yourself. Do not trip over dollars to pick up pennies. If you need cash flow or you're fearful that you're going to need it tomorrow or in the future, being aggressive with those paid in full discounts make complete sense, right? You don't need to offer $1,000 or $1,500 or something like that. That may be ridiculous, but also you got to remember, there's all kinds of studies on this out there, but I saw one recently where average American savings accounts right around $600, right? So, people don't usually have a bunch of money to pay in full. So if you're not being aggressive with it, if you're saying $250, That may be fine if you don't need the cash flow, but if you need it, it's not going to drive action as much as it otherwise could. Right. And again, if you don't need it, doesn't mean you're not going to have it in 6 months. Right. So be proactive on the loans, reach out to your customers and refinance them. It'll lower their monthly payments. It'll also help you with cash flow, and be aggressive with your paid in full discounts. 3 ways to be proactive and instantly increase your cash flow, both personally and professionally. Hope everybody enjoyed today. As always, if you enjoy the podcast, give us a thumbs up. Tell your friends, family, colleagues about the podcast. As we continually grow, I mean, we are getting listens in, Dubai, France, Australia, Japan. I mean, this global listening base is just growing and growing. And then obviously a large base here in the United States. And so loyal to all of you. I love you all. Appreciate it so much. And until next time, we'll see everybody soon. Bye-bye.